In the previous section, we completed the features for our TV tracker application and learned how to easily create forms with validation using AngularJS. This section covers common problems that AngularJS developers come up against and shows you how to solve them. We'll also be taking a look at some resources that I've used over the years. In the first video, we're going to look at two-way bound data issues that often occur during AngularJS app development. You will learn the difference between primitive and complex types, and also how to avoid this issue by using the controller as syntax. Here is a CodePen providing a simple example. We have created a simple AngularJS app which has two controllers, main controller and subcontroller. The main controller has a scope variable called primitive and another scope variable called object. Within the HTML, we display these variables and provide a series of buttons to increment their values. The second set of buttons are within a child scope governed by subcontroller. If we click the buttons in the main scope, the variable values are updated as we'd probably expect. But if we do the same with the buttons in the child scope, only the object variable is incremented. This is due to the way AngularJS deals with primitive and complex objects when it creates new scopes. First of all though, it's important to understand that in JavaScript there are 5 primitive objects. These are undefined, null, boolean, string and number. When creating a new scope, if the variable is a primitive, just a new model is created. But if it is a complex object, it will pass the reference. This is why only the object value is updated in this example. To prevent these types of issues, you must then ensure you are using complex objects as opposed to primitives when you need to update data through multiple scopes. This problem can be completely avoided if you are using best practices and implement your controllers with the controller as syntax. This example is a duplicate of the one we have just looked at, except that it uses controller as. Now, the variables within the main controller are added on the VM object. So the primitive is no longer primitive, and we can see that everything works as we would expect. This kind of problem can cause massive headaches, in particular for developers new to AngularJS, and it just shows how utilizing best practices can really help. The next video looks at removing the horrible waterfall effect on images when loaded over slow connections.